Hey guys, Dean here, and today I'm in Istanbul and we're going to be talking about how to stop procrastinating. Procrastination is basically the world's worst enemy for productivity. Now, one thing to not get confused with is procrastination is a common habit of delaying or putting off important tasks through putting heavier focus on the lesser important and more mundane things. For an example, more simple and enjoyable tasks like playing video games or watching TV, which is detriment to your self-improvement and progress in productivity areas, especially in increasing your work ethic, because with procrastination you're not going to get anywhere. But do not confuse it with laziness, because laziness is not really the same thing. Laziness is just pure unwillingness to do something out of choice, whereas procrastination is when you easily get distracted and your mind wanders off somewhere else and you do the lesser important tasks rather than just putting off intentionally. So I'm going to be running through a few different tips, because ironically I procrastinated for a very long time before actually recording this, which is pretty ironic. So the first one is make a schedule. So this really helped me in terms of productivity, especially with my main channel and making sure that I did everything that I needed to do every single day, especially if you have multiple ventures or different business plans and ideas which you need to concurrently do every single day. This makes things a little bit more easier to do, and time management is a lot easier. If you always have productive things slotted throughout the day, those small pauses and empty slots in your day where you're just wasting time will be filled with something productive. This makes you feel more motivated to start the day because you've got so much to do and you need to get it done. Especially if you have small rest periods in between, this can also help you. It makes it feel much more rewarding if you break up the productivity tasks with a few breaks in between. Now, one thing to note is the majority of procrastination is done so upon tasks or goals that are not yet made as a habit. So if you haven't done something for long enough and it's not habitual, these are the things which are going to fall victim to procrastination the most. For an example, the simple action of actually doing something and then putting more effort into it and repeating it until it's routine will then make it eventually a habit after doing it for a while. This will then in turn make it a lot easier to keep doing, and once it does become a habit, it's going to be a lot less riskier to stray away to do other things. Hence why the schedule, which is a tip which I'm giving you, is so powerful, because it just makes your day structured, makes everything easier to do, and it makes sure you remember to do everything that you really need to make sure that gets done. This is really important if you have many different goals or different things you're working on at once. I never really recommend working on too many different ventures or tasks at once. I'd recommend no more than 2 big ideas or 2 big things. For an example, 2 business ideas or 2 big tasks that you need to do. Anything more, your mind will get confused and wander, and it can be hard to balance things. But if you do have many multiple things, you really do need to create a schedule. You also need to recognize when you're actually procrastinating. Realizing you're actually in this cycle can actually give you a chance to readjust and change your course of action. For example, if you're filling your day with really low priority tasks and activities like watching TV or playing video games and leaving all of your things on the list and then just simply not fulfilling them, well, it's pretty obvious that you're stuck in a loop if it continues to keep repeating itself. For an example, if you're not attending to any of your work or business emails, or going for a drink or a snack, or getting sidetracked instead of doing something really important. Or maybe you're the type of person where you're just waiting to be in that specific positive mood to actually get something done, and then that time never comes around, or when it does, maybe it's too late at night, or then you put it off till the next day. These are really strong signs that you're actually in that procrastination slump and the cycle's beginning. The next thing is understand why you're actually procrastinating. So this is the tricky part, but it's the key part to actually breaking the cycle. So what's actually physically making you procrastinate? Understanding the reasons why can actually help you adjust it and change it and get things fixed. For example, if you find yourself really wanting to start or continue doing something, but no matter how hard you try, it just seems either too boring or unappealing to you, then this could be a sign. Or maybe poor organization enables you to put off important things and then in turn not create those important habits. Or perhaps you just simply have doubts about yourself or lack faith in your personal ability, which prevents you from actually achieving or starting something, which could be a confidence issue or something completely unrelated. Now, if this is a constant cycle which tends to kind of repeat itself, the next tip would just be to forgive yourself for the past courses of procrastination which you've actually subjected yourself to. And if you've been a heavy procrastinator in the past, or it's something which you're currently stuck in a cycle of, forgive yourself for putting off important things yesterday and focus on how we're going to actually figure those out and move forward with being productive in the moment. Obviously, you can't start yesterday, but starting something now is better than tomorrow or in a year, for an example. Starting today is the next best thing, since you can't wind back time. The next tip is actually commit to your tasks. So make a list. For an example, you can put it on the fridge or in closer proximity to you so you can focus on it, and consider making a schedule in Excel or Google Docs, which is completely free online, which you can use as a resource, or just use Office if you have that on your computer, and either print out or keep it open on your computer. One thing I like to do is I made the schedule in Excel and I have it open in my web browser, which is usually on snooze mode, or I keep my computer on, and every time I boot it up, whether I'm on my laptop or my PC, I constantly have that schedule there and I can see exactly what I need to do at the start of the day. The next one is ask someone to hold you accountable. This is the same with the tips that I gave in the reading video, which I did a little while ago, and that's because obviously humans are social creatures, so having a partner to actually check up on you and support you is something which is going to help a lot too. For an example, you could ask your parents, you could ask a friend or your partner, for an example, to hold you accountable and to check in on you to see if you're actually holding up your end of the deal and being productive and following these tips which I'm giving you. Then you also want to minimize distractions, which is important too, because this is one of the biggest culprits. Minimize distractions while you're working or wanting to devote yourself to something super important. Try switching off your phone and completely disconnecting from it, or take a break from social media, which are really big things which will help. And try to avoid being in proximity of those distractions. For an example, if you watch a lot of TV and that's something you're guilty of, try and stay away from the TV a little bit if you feel like you're going to get sucked in. This is especially easy if family members ask you to watch something when you need to do something that's really important, and it can get you sidetracked. If that's your pitfall, this is super important. Or maybe you're not just playing video games for a few hours a day or at night time on a break. Perhaps you're playing all throughout the day and you need to avoid these slightly more because they're not relevant to the task at hand. I would also say set time-based goals. This is important because it gives you a time frame of when you actually need to achieve it by. Setting time-based goals and dates that you wish to achieve your goal by or a task by in order to give yourself a strong deadline is really important because it holds yourself accountable with a specific time frame and it motivates you to do it now rather than later, which is what we're trying to achieve here basically. The next is to create healthier habits or lifestyle habits, which a few of these I'm guilty of. For an example, procrastination can sometimes be due to deeper underlying issues. For an example, if you're eating a ton of sugar, which we're all guilty for, especially me, and having a sugar crash mid-afternoon, or not sleeping enough, which is something which I'm definitely guilty of too, and the sleep pattern is something which I'm trying to fix right now. Sometimes people like us who want to get a lot of work done can also be workaholics, and that negatively impacts you if you're being overly productive. So this is something which you might need to look at too. If you're feeling like a zombie in the daytime, then this is a good sign as to why you can't get anything done or stay concentrated, which is another topic, but it's very important because it's not off topic from what we're talking about. This may be the reason why your energy may be at a low point that makes committing to those productive tasks a little bit more challenging and grueling. Perhaps just eating healthier and getting better quality sleep may help in this situation. And the last tip which I'm going to go over is just change your work environment around you and the space which you surround yourself with. You may be interested in my other video, which is called My Productivity Workspace 2021, in which I show off my brand new desk setup which I made at the very start of this year. My main channel is a gaming channel, this is my secondary channel, and I do make content on video games, but when I'm not recording as a work purpose, I tend to try and stay away from playing video games all day. Most of the time I'm actually only playing games while I'm doing something for a video, and then maybe I might play for an hour or two extra at night time. I do sometimes, however, have an issue with binge watching YouTube or playing games in my spare time, which is a little bit less of a problem than Netflix and YouTube, which can become very addicting. So having a productivity workspace where I can keep myself away from that binge watching habit of videos and entertainment is very key to my productivity. To negate this, I basically brought an entirely brand new desk off Amazon. I put my work laptop on it, which I'm using right now whilst I'm traveling, and anything productive which is very useful for whatever I'm doing. For an example, the Kindle, which is great for reading. That's something which I can allocate time to when I'm staying away from my computer. And my pencils and pad for drawing on, because I like to do art and drawing, but I don't really get to do it so much, so putting it in that workspace lets me actually get encouraged to commit more time to it. This lets me get away and focus more on productivity and just fun tasks that I really want to do more of. Even though it's mere just meters away from my other desk, which is pretty silly, it's actually something which is subconsciously very useful and actually somehow really helps. The desks are literally right next to each other, but just switching to another desk is a complete disconnect and it takes away all those distractions, and somehow that's actually works super well. For you, you may just want to go to an entirely different room to disconnect, or go to a different place and study or do whatever you need to do there. It doesn't matter if you're trying to do art, business work, or just generally homework or studying or super important things. Using all these tips will help you stop procrastinating and try to get more productive progress done, and in turn get more work completed. If these tips were useful, make sure to like the video and subscribe, and let me know below which tips helped you the most, and also some tips which have personally helped you that I missed out from this list of different tips. I'm interested what tips you guys use to actually avoid procrastination and be more productive, because I'm looking forward to actually utilizing them myself. It's really helpful because people who watch this can check down below and get more advice too. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time.